What up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Uh, Today's video is going to be kind of different than the other ones. I'm going to be doing a reaction to the Scavenger trailer I posted last weekend. For those of you that haven't seen it or that are new to this channel, hi, how are you? The Scavenger is a three-part The Making of series that I've been doing for the past 2 months. And just last week, I posted the kind of finale-ish for it. The finale for it. It's just a trailer, kind of like a trailer. It's mostly a clip, and that's what I kind of want to talk about in this video. I want to go through the clip with you guys and kind of just break down certain scenes to kind of explain what I was going for. To kind of explain why I chose to go with this, and just little bits and pieces I want to kind of explain and put together for you guys, so you guys can kind of get a sense of the plot for this story. If someday I end up finishing it, I would like to in the future do a kind of three-part series to it. Make each clip or each video like 15 minutes long, so it's going to be a decent like short film or fan film. But I kind of just want to share with you guys first what it's all about, because so far all you've seen is just me build a muddy stormtrooper, and there's not much context within the trailer, so I feel like it would be a good idea to kind of explain all that with you guys, and then explain what the future hell holds for this character and my plans for it in the future. But without any further interruption, I want to play the video and start breaking this bad boy down. Alright. And here we are. Ready and play. In a galaxy far, far away. So first thing I want to talk about is the opening shot. So with the opening shot, I kind of want to establish environment and establish, establish environment, establish where the story is going to take place. In this universe, it takes place on Tatooine, hence the desert planet or the desert environment. Where I filmed this, if you guys are wondering, is Barstow, out there in the shooting ranges, actually. Before this shot, there was a bunch of bullet shells on the floor. We just got a t-shirt and sweep them up to make it look all pretty and nice. But, so establishing environment. So yeah, the majority of the story takes place in Tatooine. There is a short part in the beginning which takes place on another planet, but we'll explain that later. But let's continue. Nice. And up the character. All right, so this is one scene I really want to explain, even though it's so slight and so little. When he turns his head, it pans up and then he just goes, I hope it wasn't too subtle. I kind of wanted that to be a big thing, because as soon as he turns his head, or before he turns his head, you hear the breathing apparatus of Vader, right? Let me see. I'm gonna try to go. Nah, I'm garbage at it, but you know what I mean. You hear his breathing, and then he kind of, he flinches a little bit. Like, what's that? What's that? That was not intended to make Vader seem present in that scene, because he's not. He's not physically there when you hear the voice, and I want to explain that, because I feel like if it's not explained as to why you're hearing it, it almost comes off cheesy, and I would hate for that scene to come off cheesy because it's supposed to be a part of setting up the plot for this story. And that's why I chose this specific clip out of the whole script, because I have the script written, but I chose this clip out of context to kind of be a first impression to the story. It sets, it shows off settings, character, um, pretty much the plot of the story. But that's why I need to explain all of it to kind of, um, that's why I'm talking about it, to kind of explain all of it and what it means and the meaning behind it. Um, but let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about who the character is to kind of explain why he hears the voice of Vader, or the breathing of Vader. So we're going to go way back. So this character, the Scavenger, is a stormtrooper deserter. He deserted the Empire. He was part of the first batch of stormtroopers that replaced the clone troopers. So he was there from the way beginning. And he saw firsthand what the Empire was capable of, how ruthless they were, how evil they were, how sinister they were. And most of all, he saw how sinister and ruthless and evil Vader was. He worked right beside him. He was traumatized. He was afraid. He thought the Empire was going to replace the Republic and make it. It was false hope, He believed that the Empire was going to be better in a sense, and it from firsthand experience, he realized that it wasn't what the Emperor promised. It was worse. And he left. He left to hide on Tatooine, a very isolated planet where he felt that he could get away from everything and live out the rest of his life as a scavenger, making money off of, scrapping parts. But along the line, he came across, unfortunately, he came across a relic of the past, Luke's lightsaber. And he identified it, obviously, as a Jedi's lightsaber. He was very much aware of the Jedi and what happened in Order 66. So he saw it as a valuable item. I could sell this, I could pawn it off. Kyber crystals are almost all gone. They were used up to build the Death Star. Because this story takes place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So he realizes the value of the lightsaber and he tries to pawn it off. Pawning it off set off a signal which alerted the Empire, which alerted them of a deserter who has a bounty on him, and if spotted, would be killed on sight. So that's where the trouble starts. Once they become aware of his position and who he is, he's hunted down. As he's hunted down, it's discovered in what he's possession of. So what he's in possession of, the lightsaber, doesn't matter at first. What matters is who he is and what he's done. Once the Empire becomes aware of how much of a nuisance he is, how hard it is to kill him, obviously Vader becomes aware of it, and he becomes also aware of what he's in possession of, which is his old lightsaber. So it becomes slightly personal to him. And towards the end, he does show up, but for the majority of the film, he's not there. And especially in this spot, he's not there. So what it is that he's hearing what it is that you're hearing when you hear the whisper of Vader voice is an echo, and the echo is coming from the lightsaber. So, my lore behind the whole lightsaber thing is, in canon, the kyber crystals are considered alive. They're alive like all living things. That's why, in order for a Sith to turn his lightsaber red, he has to make it bleed. He has to contaminate it by pouring in all his emotions and corrupting it, turning it red. So, in this story, obviously the lightsaber has had its emotions poured into. Maybe not intentionally, but considering the history of the lightsaber, it's responsible for the death of many Jedi, for the death of younglings, for the death of sand people, the women, the children, the whole thing. It's responsible for cutting off Mace Windu's hand, which is what started it all, which was what started him down the path to evil. So yeah, it does have a history behind it. And that history is embedded into the crystal, which is a part of the lightsaber. Now, when in possession of a non-Force user, it slowly eats away at them. It's too powerful. It's connected too much within the Force. It has so much evil in it. It's dangerous. There's certain scenes I made in this film where when he first touches it, he starts seeing visions of the lightsaber's past, visions of his past, visions of his future. And the lightsaber, in a way, speaks to him and helps him fulfill its destiny and, in a way, his destiny. Because in the end, the lightsaber is technically, even though not a lot of people like it, it's on its way to see Rey. It was her destiny to receive it in The Force Awakens, but it had to make a journey from Cloud City to there. And this is what this story is kind of doing. It's filling in that gap of what happened between that timeline. So, once he's in possession of the lightsaber, in this scene, which is farther along in the film, it's already eating away at him. He's already starting to develop symptoms of like PTSD and schizophrenia. He's seeing things that aren't there. He's hearing things that aren't there. And this is an example of it. When he hears the whisper and he turns his head, it's his PTSD kicking in. It's the whispers that aren't there that he's freaking out about. And that's why in the next shot, which I'm going to play right now, he reaches for the lightsaber in kind of like a shaky way, because he knows, like, it does trigger him at first, and he looks around like is he finally here? But he knows where it's coming from, and that's why he holds the lightsaber in his hands and he stares at it. That's why you have that close-up shot of him looking at it, because all of that is coming from it. And you see him step forward, and when he steps forward and he's kind of looking off the edge, it's almost like a sense of wonder, like a mixture of wonder and fear. It's like, what's gonna happen? Where is this leading me to? Why does it keep showing me this? Why does it allow me to hear this? And then you kind of get this zoom out. And this zoom out, it kind of just represents the journey that is ahead of him. His goal, to go into a little bit more depth of the story, he loses his ship in the beginning of the story. Once the Empire becomes aware of where he is, his ship is damaged, and he has to find a way to get off the planet. And this whole zoom out is just kind of like the path that's in front of him. He has a long way to go. He has a big journey ahead of him. The lightsaber is leading it to his destiny, And yes, Vader does come along the end, which is a part of his character development, which is overcoming his fears and going from, a coward, deserter who is afraid of the Empire, and hid away on a planet as a hermit, to almost the hero of the story, trying to, follow the will of the Force rather than his own will. And then it pans out a little farther, and then it goes black. And then you get the little, fade in, ambient sand in the back. You see the words, the Scavenger. And it kind of just ends it. So, that clip from the beginning of when he's introduced to the end where it says the Scavenger is roughly about like a minute, 20 seconds long. It's really short, but it does take a lot to film. And that's another point of why I'm making this video, is at some point I do want to finish this film. Like I said, I want it to be a 3-part series, around 15 minutes each episode, maybe a little bit more. But it's going to cost a lot. It's obviously going to be non-profit because it's licensed material. So I'm making it just for the sake of, for fun, for showing everybody, and, for all the people that want to enjoy it. The film is going to cost me a bit. It's going to cost me around 10 grand. I'm going to need to hire a director for at least a whole week. I feel like we can get this shot in a week, because there's a lot of day scenes. It's like half of the film takes place during the day, and the other half, or at least a good chunk of it, takes place during night. So it would be a lot of day filming, night filming. The sun is not going to be a problem. So we can take advantage of being able to film during the day and then filming a good portion during night and try to get it done within a week. So it'd be a week of hiring a director, hiring a crew, hiring editors, and also trying to get special effects artists to do any, little blaster fires or anything. I don't really know how insane I want to do it. I would like to do it right, but special effects are going to be very cost effective. So it would be around 10 grand, costumes, all that. Driving out there for a week, food. So I'm not asking for anything, but I have opened a Patreon. For those of you that want to support this channel, what you're supporting is not me, but the content. The projects are very costly, this project especially. So for those of you that want to be a part of all this and help support all the content that there is to come, I'd appreciate it. It's going to be down below for those of you that want to join. I might also open up either a GoFundMe or a Patreon for this. Not a Patreon. I obviously already opened a Patreon. It's down below. Or a Kickstarter. This is a project I want to work on, and it's something I've always wanted to get done. I've been writing this story since 2018. So making it into a full-length 3-part series would be amazing. But it is going to take a lot of effort. So for those of you that want to be a part of it, link to the Patreon's down below. But other than that, this was a lot of fun to film this little scene. It was a very interesting experience too. I kind of want to talk about all that because it was really fun. We drove. It was me and 2 buddies that drove out to the Barstow shooting ranges, and we probably drove out at least 4 to 5 miles out in the middle of nowhere. we're just trying to find the perfect spot to shoot this thing. And I had the idea in my head. I wanted it to be this massive cliff that he just kind of um, steps on. Um, but I couldn't. It was really hard to kind of find that perfect spot. Like it was so specific in my mind and the way I wanted to shoot it. But it took a while. We drove out, like I said, 5 miles. We found this little like this. It was so far. It was just a little mountain, but you can tell it was like boulders and rocks. Like it was a very rocky hill because there was definitely other mountains, but it was just sandy hills. And we kind of like gambled and just drove out trying to find the roads because the roads were all wonky and there was tons of dips, and sometimes you'd go on a road and it would lead off into nowhere. It was just like a maze trying to get to there, and we finally got there after so long. um, we left around 9 a.m. in the morning, which wasn't too early, but we expected to shoot this shot before sunset. And I had the whole day planned out. Like we were gonna shoot just in time so we can get the sunset shot of it because I wanted the sun to be very harsh, and kind of when it's in the middle of the day, it's not as it doesn't cast as much shadow. So once it like starts setting, the shadows are very harsh and the lighting is very harsh. So we were trying to get that perfect medium. And what happened was when we were setting up shooting, um, like driving out into the shooting range, or like once you get off the freeway and you just drive straight into the desert, it was like an hour drive to find that spot. And by the time we set up, it was probably like 3 o'clock, which was pretty early. And we were gonna start shooting around like 4. It was during winter time, so the sun was setting a lot faster or a lot earlier. But what happened was where we were shooting, there was a mountain right here. So we were shooting here, and there was a bigger mountain here. The sun was setting here. So we expected to shoot before the sunset, but we didn't take into consideration, you know, anything that's going to block the sun from us. So what happened was it was starting to set over here, and a massive shadow just started casting over. So literally, we were rushing through the shots. Obviously, the first came out good. I think the last shot, we barely made it. Like, I think we only got maybe like 4 shots of the scavengers, of the drone zooming away from the scavenger before the sun just like completely casted over me, and I was just in this big shadow. So it was very exhilarating. Um, it was definitely a good experience, a learning experience. But it was an amazing day of filming. Everything went according to plan. All the shots came out great. Um, and then, yeah, and then I just sat on it for a while because I was slowly releasing the making of, and obviously I didn't want to post the clip before we finished the making of, so I kind of just anxiously waited until part 3 of the making of came out, and then I waited the weekend after that, and then I just dropped that. Or it was 2 weeks after that, I think I waited, and then I dropped it, and I'm super, happy of the amount of views it's getting. It's far more than any of the other videos, which is great. The channel is definitely progressing rapidly, which I appreciate anybody that's been watching and liking all those videos. It's great. It's fantastic. I'm glad you guys like it. Expect more of this. I do want to keep doing cinematics with my buddy Alan Lopez. He's an amazing director or cinematographer, and it's fun. It's nice to make something you're proud of, and not just show it off in like a cheap camcorder video, but like really show it off in a very cinematic way. It's amazing. Like the Mimic was the first cinematic we did. Um, the sculpture was kind of garbage because it was in the first stages of it. Like usually when I do a sculpture, there's at least like 2 to 3 prototypes before I'm like happy with the final product, and that's where I just keep going to finish. And that's why in the beginning of the Mimic, it looks completely different because I'm already starting on the second stage of reforming it um, to where it's better. Um, so it's like it's a weird trend. I don't know, and it didn't finish at the end, obviously, because it's not my short film. So I also didn't want to spoil the look of the character at the end, because that's for the movie, right? That's up to the movie. That's the movie's job, is to show off the character. Um, so yeah, it was a great video, but I wasn't too happy with how the sculpture came out. But I am working on more cinematics. I'm not gonna say on what, because I do want them to be a surprise because I'm really excited for them. But yeah, I do want to keep doing more, and that's kind of what this channel is going to continue towards, is just making fun stuff, cool stuff I like, stuff you guys like, and then at the end of the project, which everything would most likely be a series because there's no way I can get a huge project done in one video. It's going to at least be 3 to 4 parts. And then at the end of it, just, make a cinematic, maybe once a month, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, expect more of these to come. Um, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the Scavenger. I was really excited to finally share this with you guys. And to be honest, I feel like I was more excited to talk about it, make this video and talk about it with you guys, because I really wanted to go into depth of the character and the story, because there's so much more than just what's shown in the clip. And obviously, this is what I could give for now. But for the future, I do want to finish this project. It's a huge project, and I think you guys would really enjoy it. Like it's a small story within the universe of Star Wars, considering like everything that's going on. The story is about the lightsaber, but it's a nice little side story, and I think it would be fun to work on. Um, so yeah, those of you guys that want to support the channel, the content, link down below. I'm gonna be doing well, if you're watching this video, the live stream was yesterday, Friday. So not this coming up Friday, but the following Friday, I'll be doing another live stream. I'm probably gonna be working on Godzilla again. He has gone through a lot of changes. I think I'm on my 2.0 version, so he is a little different. Not too much, but definitely noticeable. I'm a little bit behind on him. That's why I didn't do a live stream of him yesterday. I'm gonna do him the following Friday from now. But yeah, expect a live stream every other Friday. It's kind of fun to just interact with everybody while working on my stuff. It's more, not wholesome, but more genuine, to kind of just not have to edit anything if I say something wrong. It's all fluent, and so is this video. This video is not going to be edited, but yeah. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about the Scavenger and everything about it, what is to come. Hope to see you guys in the next video, because I don't know what it's going to be. But expect a video every Saturday and a live stream every other Friday. And I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.